Happy Tuesday. We are here. Day 7 of the Women's History Month She is Powerful March Challenge. So grateful to be here. And it's Tuesday. Welcome in. Please let me know where you're tuning in from. Welcome to day 7 of the She is Powerful March Challenge. Where are you tuning in from? Please let me know. It is Women's History Month, and remember, this is a challenge where I'll be coming live every day for a brief moment. I am Dr. Jayla Ray, your heart coach, your strategist, and your encourager. I am committed to your sustained pivot as you journey on your purposed in divine alignment, your journey. Thank you to those who have ordered the Game On Checkmate shirts. You're going to be getting them soon, and I'm so excited. If you hadn't got yours, please feel free to get it. Please let me know where you're tuning in from. Please say hello. Please invite. Please share. Tomorrow is the actual IWD, which stands for International Women's Day. And remember, I'm always going to share some facts, give some encouragement through quotes, share about me, and honor a woman. So today, the facts that I want to share are the International Women's History Day, which is tomorrow, International Women's Day. The colors are purple, green, and white. And they are the colors of that day, according to the International Women's Day website. Let's talk about those colors. Purple signifies justice and dignity. Green symbolizes hope. White represents purity, albeit a controversial concept. And the colors are originated from the Women's Social and Political Union in the UK in 1908. That's what they say about the history and the colors associated with the International Women's Day, which is tomorrow, March the 8th, though we are celebrating this full month of Women's History Month. Now, I've been honoring women throughout these last 6 days, and tonight I want to honor some very special women in my life. We honor and we celebrate their countless contributions and achievements as women throughout history. So these women are my aunts, the Clowney sisters. Do y'all know them? Have you heard of the Clowney sisters? Anybody out there from VKP, Kannapolis, North Carolina, where these sisters were raised by Leroy Clowney and Johnny Mae Clowney in what we call Little Texas? Anybody familiar with Fort Worth Street? Yeah, I'm talking about my aunts, my aunties, my TTs. So let me tell you a little about each of them. It's a lot of them. Grandma, I told you the first woman that I honored. I told you about my grandmother, Johnny Mae, and I told you how many children that she birthed. I told you that she had 2 that was deceased, and she actually birthed 8. One was a boy, which is Leroy Clowney Jr., which is named after my grandfather, and then 7 of these lovely children were my aunties, which were her daughters, women. And since we're celebrating Women's History Month, I'm talking about my aunts tonight. I'm honoring my aunts tonight. I'm saluting my aunts tonight. I'm amplifying my aunts tonight. So I'm going to go down the line. First, I'm going to highlight and honor Susie Mae Clowney Torrance, who is now deceased. She was the eldest of the sisters. And let me tell you, Aunt Sue, I grew up, she was the woman always in church. She was the evangelist. She was a prayer. She was a cook. She was all the things, a wife, a mother. She was all the things. So Aunt Sue left a great impression on all of us as our eldest aunt. So she is now deceased, but she left a legacy. And her legacy is some of her dishes that people love to eat when we get together as a family. But also she was a woman of God. She was very true in who she was. And she would pray. She would check on us. And so I'm lifting my auntie, Susie Mae Clowney Torrance, who is now deceased. Next is Queen Clowney Jones. Aunt Queen was very instrumental in my life because she was in education. And when I saw her, and I'll talk about her and my Aunt Frankie, who was Frankie Clowney Barnes. Both of them were in education. And when I was growing up, I used to, hear about their stories in education. I would see them doing things in the community through their educational roles. It was always positive from them. I never heard anything negative about them serving in education. And they really were role models for me, along with another lady that I'm going to honor a little later, who has had a big piece in my educational career. But my Aunt Queen and my Aunt Frankie are both wives. They were both wives, mothers, grandmothers, all the things. And they each brought wonderful things to our family as women for us to look up to, for us to learn from, for us to carry on in our lives, for us to be the women that we are today. And when I say we, I'm talking about me, my cousins, their children, and all of the Clowney clan, through Leroy and Johnny Mae's lineage. Good evening from North Carolina. I see you in here. Next, I am going to talk about my Aunt Sale. Listen, that was my second home growing up. Aunt Sale, Celestine Clowney Feshman. We all call her Aunt Sale. Aunt Sale was a woman that I looked to a lot because I spent a lot of time at my Aunt Sale house growing up, a lot of time at her house. And she worked for a telephone company. She was an operator. And just, coming from Kannapolis and seeing my aunts go out to different cities around the city, doing different things and being who they were called to be and raising their families and living well was so encouraging to me. So Aunt Sale was a hoot. We spent lots of time there. We vacationed with my auntie and all of my cousins. So I'm lifting up my Aunt Sale with the rest of my aunts tonight because Aunt Sale is special to all of us. And to today, she still will have you hollering and laughing. She is a wonderful woman to be celebrated during Women's History Month. And let me tell you a little bit more about Aunt Sale. She and my mom, Patsy Clowney Bloom, who I talked about already, but she's part of the Clowney sisters. People mix them up all the time. They say they look just alike. They think they're twins. They'll call one the other, so on and so forth. So that's Aunt Sale. Next and the last sister that I'm going to lift up is my Aunt Faye Clowney Collins. Aunt Faye did something different. She was married and she moved away because her husband was military. But guess what that did for me as a child? Seeing this woman who was bold and courageous that moved away from her hometown with her husband, with her children. And then guess what we were able to do? We were able to travel to visit her. And guess where she lived? In Virginia, at Virginia Beach. And so that was like a woo for us. It was a wonderful thing to go there. And then Aunt Faye was just so bold because she left. She left. And that gave me courage because if you know anything about my story, you know that I did a power move as well. Me and my son, we moved from the North Carolina, Kannapolis to Atlanta. So that was a good thing for me to see Aunt Faye move away to live well and to still be gone in all of her strongness. And then I have my Aunt Ruby Clowney Crouch, the prayer warrior, the intercessor. The woman I've seen and spent time in her house, she moved to Charlotte as well, but she has been so instrumental in learning to have a prayer life and learning to be an intercessor and learning how to live your life in a way that is not as public and open to everyone, but be true to yourself. Aunt Ruby is a force to be reckoned with. I've gone through many things in my life. And as a woman, she knows how to pray and she does not mind praying. I stand on many prayers Aunt Ruby prayed for me because I would hear her prayers and I still today can hear what she said to me and it has come to pass. So I'm grateful for my Aunt Ruby as well. So those are the women that I'm honoring tonight. Those Clowney sisters from Kannapolis, North Carolina, from the lineage of Leroy Clowney and Johnny Mae White Clowney. So that's who I was honoring. Welcome in, grace and peace. Hey, Mother Mary from North Carolina. Hey, Sister Julia, how you doing? Yes, great women of legacy. My aunties, the Clowney clan, the Clowney sisters, my loves. I love y'all so much, aunties, and I wanted to make sure that I lifted you up during Women's History Month on tonight. So now, a bit more about me as a woman before we get into our encouragement and quotes. I am a whole-grown businesswoman. Remember, I keep telling you that I'm a whole-grown woman, but I'm a whole-grown businesswoman. And in that, tonight, I want to highlight some of the things that I do as a business woman during Women's History Month. I coach others to self-publish and learn the process. Not only help them to self-publish their literary works, but learn the process of self-publishing so that they can then do the same and create income for themselves. I have several clients that I've helped along the way. They published, became best-selling authors, have great works of literature out there. But guess what? They're able to take on clients now and lead them through the same process. So they have created income for themselves by going through the coaching that I gave them. So that's one way that I coach. I also coach those seeking career changes through the process of starting with coaching them through a resume or curriculum vita makeover. Resume, curriculum vita, same thing. Some people call it one or the other. But I take them through a resume makeover. We go through the process. I coach them through it. We do some talking. We have some sessions. And we end up with a whole new product that speaks to where they want to go. Not so much as speaking to where they've been. You share that, but you want to set your resume up to where you want to go, where you want to land, showing what you've gained through your career journey. So I love coaching people in that space as well. I also coach others through many phases and stages of their business or businesses, such as from startup to development to sustainability strategy. So that calls for sessions, talking through the visions, talking through what's going on, talking through the challenges. So we work through those things as well. And then lastly, just tonight, because I do a whole lot of other things, but I do coach those on a personal and spiritual journey of development, personal development, through my masterclass, the Inside Out Masterclass, which I only offer once or twice a year. So if you're interested in that, it is tied to the Heart to Heart Daily Devotional, and we work through that through a group coaching model and an online platform. So that's a little bit about me during this Women's History Month and my whole grown businesswoman self and some of the things that I do. Now, how can you support me? Well, I'm glad you asked. You can go to my website. You can look at the products available. You can grab some of the books. You can do some of the other things. But if you also would like to schedule a complimentary consultation with me for 15 minutes to see if you're interested in working with me as a partner and things that you have going on, to see if I can assist in some way with the services that I offer, you can schedule with the link that I just put in as well. Now we're going to get ready to end with empowering quotes and encouragement. The first quote for this evening is, "Amazing things happen when women help other women." That's by Kasia Gospos. Amazing things happen when women help other women. Do you have a story about that? Do you have a testimony in that? I know I do. Amazing things have happened in my life because of other women helping me. Not only just in a personal space, in a spiritual space, but also in my career, in things that God has called me to as divine assignments. I've had women across this USA to create a whole team to help me to manifest a project that God laid in my lap. That was one of my assignments. So this rings true for me in so many ways: personal, business, assignments, clients. And it says amazing things happen when women help other women. What is your story around that? Now, let's look at it. Have you seen other things happen in women's lives that's amazing because you helped them? Have you helped somebody along the way? Have you helped a woman along the way? Have you seen amazing things happen for another woman because of what you did for that woman? I think we all can speak to that as well. And lastly, the last quote and piece of encouragement for this evening is, owning our story can be hard, but not nearly as difficult as spending our lives running from it. That's by Brené Brown. Let me say that again. Owning our story can be hard, but not nearly as difficult as spending our lives running from it. Are you running from your life, or are you owning it? Are you running from your life, or are you owning it? Well, I can only speak to my journey and my story. I can tell you, in my earlier years, in those earlier versions of Lorraine 1.0, Lorraine 2.0, I ran from my life. I ran from the difficulties in my life. I ran from the things I didn't understand in my life. And guess what? I ran right into danger. I ran right out of God's will. I ran right out of his protection. I ran right out of what he had set for me along the way. So this quote says, owning our story, which I can truly say that I own my story now, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the indifferent, right? I can own my story because I had to work through loving and knowing me, understanding who I was, my true identity, so that I could own my story. Because guess what? Some of my story had me living in shame, in doubt, and all kinds of things because of things that happened to me early on. I was blaming me. I was ashamed. I had not forgiven me or apologized to me. But when I owned my story, I was able to move forward and stop running from my story. That gives us power. That gives us authority because our identity is in the Holy Spirit. And once we realize who we are and we get past us, we don't have to run from our lives and our story anymore. We embrace it. We share it because the word tells us that we overcome by our testimony. And I had to learn that. So how are you moving? Only you know. Assess yourself. Look at yourself, woman. This is Women's History Month. Look at you. Do some self-reflection. Identify if you're running from your story or if you're embracing your story and owning your story. So, hey, welcome in, Chief Apostle. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate y'all. We're closing out for this evening. I just shared the 2 quotes with some encouragement. I hope that it ruminated in your soul, that it resonated in your heart, and it's something that you can take away. Tomorrow is International Women's Day. It is the actual day tomorrow. Remember, the theme is embracing equity. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about equity when I do this little short come out here live. We're going to talk about equity, okay? So think about equity for you so that you can share in the comments and join the conversation. Thank you for chatting it up with me for day 7 of the She is Powerful March Challenge, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Blessings, blessings, and more blessings. Celebrate a woman tomorrow. Celebrate yourself tomorrow. Do something different tomorrow for a woman. Make her feel special. Call her, text her, send her some flowers, send her some chocolate, send her some fruit. Take somebody some lunch. Make the women that you come across tomorrow feel special. And make sure you share your story and insights about embracing equity. Good night, and good night.